Hello, everybody. I am late. I am late today. Uh, hello. Uh, yeah, so for those of you reading the title for the first time, today is the last weekly live stream. Um, this is a big decision on my part, but for those of you who haven't read my long post on my community tab, pretty much doing these live streams, it's fun. I enjoy it. I really do. But at the same time, as a someone who suffers from mental health conditions and also some physical health conditions, it can be difficult to do these every single week because not only do I have to plan a lot of like time and dedication to it, but it's hard for me to be on like this for an hour. So props to the people out there who stream for hours and hours and hours because I don't know how you function like that. I am not one of those people, and trying to force myself to do it is not healthy. So I'm not gonna do it anymore. That doesn't mean that I won't live stream in certain situations. I will definitely probably live stream after Thomas posts a new episode of the Sanders Sides and the Sanders Asides, and probably any Thomas content really. But it's just easier for me to uh, live stream after something where I'm really to talk about. But yeah, so I figured I would just chat today like we always do and just have some fun. Um so one thing that's really cool that happened while I was going through, oh, hi Sadie. I love you too, and say have fun at your grandma's. Um and so hello everybody. Um so And yeah, Mandy, that is true. I did say I was only going to do weekly live streams until the new year, and then I continued doing it anyway. So what happened during my nap was Thomas announced he's going to VidCon London, as M just screamed in the chat, because it's something worth screaming about. Yeah, so if you're in London, have fun, bros, and everybody else. Um, but yeah, so I hope you guys have fun and you get to meet Thomas. Don't forget it is a lottery to get to meet Thomas, so I hope you get picked and I hope you get to go. Or at least I think that's how VidCon works. I really want to meet Thomas, but I am not in very good place financially, so I don't know even if he goes to air places here in the States. I don't really know if I'll be able to meet him anytime soon. Um, but other than that, I hope all y'all UK friends have fun. And if you do get to meet him, I want to hear about it. So in the description, eventually, it's not there now, but um, in the description there will be my places you can follow me at online. Um, you better be showing me your pics that you guys get to get with him because I really want to see him. Because I made a post on Twitter a couple of days ago. I don't remember how long it was at this point, but someone else had done this, so I decided to do it as well. And it's just like, even if I never get to meet Thomas, he has changed my life in more ways than he'll ever realize. And I'm appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of the fact that this man exists in the same time frame that I do, and it's because of a lot of decisions that he has made in his life that I have met a lot of people that mean the absolute world to me. And without him, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be what I'm doing. I might be a little richer, but that's not really an issue. AKA, I wouldn't have so much merch, but at the same time, I would have probably found something else I would be interested in. So it's, I'm glad for the fact that he exists in the same time, that I do, and that so many people get to meet him and get to meet a hero of theirs. And I wouldn't go so far as to say Thomas is one of my heroes necessarily. I do really admire him, but me and him are almost the same age. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know. There are a lot of things that say he was born in 88 or 89. Like, I don't know if his birthday's a secret or something. But if he it was born in 89, that means he's only a year older than me. So it's when we there are a lot of situations that he'll post about on Twitter or make episodes of the Standard Sides about, and it's crazy to think how similar we are because of the time frame in which we grew up. We both have very similar interests in terms of like the references he'll make. Like, yeah, the references are kind of there for everybody, but it's insane how much of a equal mind I think that we share a lot in our interests and also in the things that we have experienced and how we handle certain situations. Um, so I feel like if I ever met him, it would almost like, especially at this point, since I've been following his work for over 3 years, I would meet him and I'm like, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna be nervous, like I am. Um, but it's gonna be more like meeting a friend that I feel like I've known for a while, and it's just gonna be like, yeah, like this is Thomas, this is cool. He's a guy just like me, and not in that sense, he's a human just like me, and he happens to make content that I really enjoy. And it was kind of the same thing I had when I met Markiplier. Like when I met him, I was a really big fan of his, but at the same time, like again, Mark and I are pretty close in age too. So it was interesting meeting him and being like, man, this guy is the same age as me, and we have the same like we had like similar, growing up things to where like we both grew up in a pretty small town. And he's taken, he's done things I haven't done, but it's at the same time we experience and have the same kind of humor because we're around the same age. And and it was interesting to meet Mark because I was starstruck the very first time, but the second time I got to meet him that weekend, I felt a little more comfortable, and we got more pictures then and all that stuff. It was more interesting to meet him. Um, yeah, I also met Jacksepticeye back then too when I met Mark. I was not a fan of Jack at the time. I didn't really know anything about him at the time. Um, this was what year was this? 2015, maybe. I have to look it up. I don't know, but they were at Indie PopCon, which is a convention in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is the only reason I got to meet Mark and Jack, and Wade and Bob were there too. It was the only reason I got to meet them was because they all happened to go to this convention. Indianapolis is probably one of the best cities to go to for me. Indianapolis, Nashville, St. Louis, those three right there are like in a trifecta triangle around me. So it's perfect if I want to go somewhere. It's like not very far in any of those because there's all major highways that goes to those cities. So like it's not even a day trip. It's like a half day trip to get there. So it's really good if anybody ever comes to those areas. But Mark was an absolute sweetheart. When I met him, it was just after he had gotten really big thanks to Five Nights at Freddy's. So he and Jack, from what I remember happening at the convention, so the convention was still kind of new at the time. They were still trying to get their feet in the ground in terms of like who to invite and what do they want to focus on in terms of like what kind of guests do they want to invite. And Mark and Jack, I think, blew up their convention a hell of a lot more than they expected. I went with some friends, but I was mostly alone for the first half of the day. So whenever they opened up the guest signing area, I was by myself. So I made a beeline for the line on Friday to their signing line, and I made it to the first in line. So I was the first one to meet them at that convention. I remember taking pictures with the people who were at the very front of the line. We all made it a big deal. We all like signed a little pact, and it was just like, we're the front of the line people, so it was pretty cool. But I got a picture with all of them, and I don't know why, but I don't know what happened to the pictures with Bob and Wade and Jack. I have no idea what. I have the pictures with Mark, and they're in the folder where they're supposed to be, but the pictures with the other three are not there, so I don't know. The only proof I have that I met Jack was I had him record a video for my friend Brittany, and because she wasn't able to come, and she was a bigger fan than I was for Jack's content. So, I wanted him to record just saying hi to her, which I do have that, but I don't know what happened to the pictures with the rest of them, but I could probably share those pics with you guys. And maybe I should do some like convention stories. I've been to a lot of conventions in my time, and gosh, I've met 60 to 70 voice actors at this point. When I was big into anime in the early 2010s, it was it was something magical. I was going to conventions 2, 3 times a year. Like that's where my money went before I got into Love Live and before I got into before I got into the Xander sides. I used to go to conventions all the time. Anime was my thing. I wanted to meet so many voice actors from my childhood. I've met big name ones. I've hosted big name ones at the convention I worked for a while. And it was a lot of fun, and I miss going to conventions because it was fun to meet people. um it was fun to like get when I worked for a convention. It was fun to see the behind the scenes, how much work and time and effort goes into conventions, which 9 times out of 10 are volunteer ran. Like nobody gets paid. Like all the money that you like when you pay for your ticket at a convention and you go into the convention hall and you see the people selling their merch and stuff, like those people are there, and all the money that gets made by the convention goes in to make the next year. And nothing, no one is ever paid except for maybe like the real big conventions. Like maybe VidCon might be like the people who run that might be a company, so that might be a little different. And like the bigger conventions like Anime Expo or New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con, those might be a company because they're massive. But I'm talking about your local anime convention that may be held in a town near you that has maybe 300 or 400 people going at a time. Those conventions are all locally ran by fans of the whatever they're hosting it for. Might that be anime or comic books or video games or whatever the con might be about. Those are all ran by the local area, and they're all nonprofit organizations. At least 90% of them are. And the cool thing about being a nonprofit organization is they can take donations, they can do fundraising charities, and they can do all this stuff with all the money that they get from everybody else, but none of it gets spent on the people who run it. And I've always thought it was a really interesting idea to work at a convention. And I got into this convention near me. I think it was 2012 that I got involved with them. And I worked for them for about 5 years before they let me go. But I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I did really enjoy it. The whole drama of why they let me go. I'm old enough now not to really give a shit about why it happened, but I can understand from both sides of a perspective of why it happens. But guys, even if you even have like a small speck of interest in like the nerd side of things, like sci-fi, fantasy, anime, video games, comic books, even just the movies, I recommend going to a convention. They're so much fun. You will spend a lot of money. Don't go in it thinking, oh, I won't spend anything. You'll find something that you want. It's just it's crazy. Like I conventions are some of the only place that I feel like some people can be free, because I know that there are a lot of at least in the nerd culture, it seems to be where where a lot more of the LGBTQ plus community is. Like there are a lot of us in that community that are nerds and stuff, and you're free to be yourself at conventions. Like conventions are the place I see the most pride flags that's not a pride event of some kind. It's crazy to go there and feel so comfortable. I remember when my dad and I went to a convention in Atlanta, Georgia, in 2009. I was going to meet a specific voice actor who I will not name because he's not so great anymore, or theorized to not be so great anymore, and I don't know anymore about what's true and what's false, so we're just going to leave it at that. And when we went there to meet him, I remember the convention took up this entire hotel and another one, and it was huge. And I remember looking at all the different people walking around in all kinds of different costumes. And this wasn't my first convention, but it was my first like real big one. Like I'm talking like 20, 30,000 plus people. And it was so neat to see even back then, you know, it's I'm walking around and you see people with pride flags hanging on their backs like a cape, or you'll see two girls holding hands, or two boys, they'll be like kissing or holding each other for like a photograph session or whatever. And that was 2009, so I was 19 at the time. And being from a small city in Kentucky where that's not approved behavior, it was really interesting to see how open these people were because they felt safe in the area they were in. But yeah, so I think that'd be that'd be cool. So if you ever get the chance to go to any type of convention, I highly recommend it. Budget for it. Make sure you know how much money you're going to spend, because you got to think about food, because you're going to be in a hotel all weekend and it's very important to eat. Because a lot of people forget, it's very important to take care of your hygiene when you go. It's very important to, make sure you have enough money. That way you can spoil yourself a little bit if you find some merch you want. Nowadays, if you want to meet somebody, it's usually going to cost you some money. And they're not very expensive, or I mean, they can get pretty expensive. Autographs usually cost money, photographs usually cost money. So just know what you're getting into when you go to these conventions. I'm not sure exactly how VidCon works, to be honest, because I've never been to one, but I know it runs a little differently than a regular convention, because of the fact that they do a lottery to make sure that who wants to meet a specific person gets to meet that person. Because at anime conventions and almost any convention I've ever been to, when you go to meet someone, you better be lucky that you're closer to the beginning of the line, because if you're not, you're probably not going to meet them, because they're only going to sign for an hour to 2 hours, and that's it. But I know VidCon does a lottery situation where they'll post beforehand that this is when this actor is going to do, and you have a ticket for this autograph session at this time, which I think every convention should be that way, because the amount of people that I pissed off at the convention I worked for anytime I had to close autographs sucked. I hated it, because I was a fan too, and I hate it whenever you have to close the line and somebody's like right there and it's like, well, I'm sorry, but they got to go get lunch, or they got to go to this panel or whatever. And you can see the sadness on their face, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to shut the door in somebody's face. So the lottery system makes a lot more sense. I think it's fair to do it that way, because you have more people happy at the end of the day. But anyway, so for those of you going to VidCon London, have lots of fun. Make sure to tell Thomas how much he means to you. Give him a nice big hug, because it might be the last time you ever do. The man is good at hugs, so don't forget to ask for a hug. Like, you'll probably hug him like 6 times more than likely, because I feel like Thomas is just that kind of guy where he'll just be like, oh my god, and then you'll hug, and then you'll talk, and then hug some more, and then you'll talk some more, and then you'll hug again, and it'll just go back and forth like 10,000 times. I'll meet him one day. I don't know when, but hopefully one day, because I really want to meet him, because of how much he's changed my life. Because I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Oh yeah, and exactly, I didn't even touch everything I can about a convention. Email brought up a really good thing, is that there is an artist alley, which is full of local artists that are drawing usually fan art, but sometimes their own art, their original character creations, in the artist alley. And that's usually where I spend most of my money nowadays. I don't really buy too much merch in the actual vendor hall where official merch is sold, and there's a lot of fake merch in there too, so be careful what you buy. Make sure you're getting a legit item. If some price seems too good to be true at a convention, it probably is, because it's probably a fake. But anyway, I usually stay in the artist alley, because you get some really cool merch from fans of a series just like you, and it's their own art, and you can find an art style that you like, and it's a lot of fun to like buy that merch. Anytime I go to a convention nowadays, I'm always looking to see if anybody has anything Sandersides. I have not found anybody in my local area that sells Sandersides merch. I am kind of sad. I'm hoping one day, like, some random person will at least have, like, maybe a button or some stickers, and it's just, like, the main four sides, Logan, Patton, Roman, Virgil. Like, that would be so cool. I would lose my freaking mind. I would just be like, dude, I need everything you have. Because that's the kind of person I am. I would just be like, you sender sides, me sender sides. We have. I want your merch. Because that's just how I would be. I would just be like, I need one of everything. But yeah, I haven't seen anybody sell Sander Size merch yet, but one day I will. One day somebody will sell Sander Size merch, and I will get to freak out with them and fangirl and, just have some fun talking. So we'll see. I have had people who watch the Sander Sites though, see me and CJ in cosplay at a local convention, even in my own hometown, and they're like, because we cosplayed as Virgil and Patton last time we went, and someone recognized us from a distance. They saw us and they were like, "It's Virgil and Patton," and it was so cool. And obviously it occurs to me that there are people even in my own hometown that watch Thomas. I mean, gosh, how many subscribers does he have now? Like over 3 million. So I mean, that's not surprising that there would be people who know who we are. But it was so bizarre. I did not expect it, and there were like 6 to 7 people, and I'm just like, wow. And in my own backwards town, there's that many people that know who we were. But I remember that was fun. And then we went to a convention in Columbus, Ohio, and we also dressed up. But in that one, I was still Virgil, but CJ dressed up as Patton, or as Logan, I mean. And that was cool because we did have a couple of people recognize us there too. So that was cool. Also, apparently there was another Virgil running around that convention that we never got to meet. So I was actually kind of upset about that. But there were a lot of people there who knew who we were too. So eventually, one day, I feel like the Sander Sides will get even a little bit more into anime conventions. I feel like, because YouTubers tend to be pretty popular in anime conventions. So I feel like that would be pretty neat to one day find a booth at an artist alley that has Sander Sides merch. It'll happen one day. But anyway, what else can we talk about? So Thomas recently said on his Twitter that they're recording the Sander Sides this weekend. So that's cool. Hooray! Like I thought, it was going to be around the end of January. I don't know how long they're going to need to record this one, because Thomas said there's going to be a lot of animated stuff that they were waiting for in this episode. So maybe this recording session won't take very long because of that. I hope that we do get a decent amount of recorded stuff, because I like seeing the sides like in physicality, not just in art. Because it's been like 7 months since we saw them. Well, I guess you can't say that because we did get the Asides episode last month, but you know what I mean. Or not last month, the month before last. That was in November. Anyway, yeah, it's been almost 2 months since the Asides episode too. Think about that. Holy crap. But I mean, November was a holiday month, so it's fair to say that we weren't going to get anything in that one. I don't think we'll get his name yet. No. And just asked if I think we're gonna get his name and what do I think it'll be. I've stopped guessing the seat's name because I don't really think it matters in the grand scheme of it all. But like I just want to I just want to see more of Deceit and more of Remus. I want more focused on them. I feel like a lot of the most recent episodes obviously are going to focus on the original sides. I would like more about Deceit and Remus. I think it would be fun to explore their characters just a little bit more. Like, what were they doing during certain situations and stuff like that. But yeah, so I don't know what his name will be, and I don't think we're going to get his name. It's too early. Deceit hasn't been in enough episodes yet to like really get the mystery going of like hints that like someone wants to say his name or someone might reveal it for him or whatever. Like no one's really talked about it in the series, so I don't think they're gonna name drop, but I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know. I just think it would be more fun if they kind of mess with us for a little bit. Excuse me. It'd be fun if they mess with us just to be like, oh, here is here's Deceit, or as I know him, and then like, Fairly Odd Parents Foghorn, oh man, like why didn't we get the name? But no one brings it up. No one brings up that it was an obvious like block, I just think that would be really funny. And I thought about that too, Emo. The idea, I've seen that online where like they go to reveal his name, but it's like a girl's name or a name that's obviously not right, and everybody says he's lying. I don't know if okay, so I wrote this theory a long, long time ago, and obviously it's true now, but it's one of the only theories that like I think I got right. But like Virgil, his name was not known to anybody, or at least it wasn't known to the light sides. I use that in quotation marks because I don't like the light side, dark side dichotomy. But obviously, Virgil's name wasn't known by anybody. I think Logan, Roman, and Patton, all three knew each other's names. I think that was just something for specifically Thomas, because Thomas didn't know their names. And that leads up from the fact that like when Logan's name is given, it's given by Patton. So obviously Patton knew, which leads you to believe that Roman knew as well. And then when Roman gives his name, the other two are gone already. So Roman was in that like small moment with Thomas and kind of like a little bit vulnerable and gave his name and all that stuff. And then you have Patton, who just says his name at the very end of an episode as well, which was kind of close with Thomas. So that kind of tells you that Roman and Logan already knew that his name was Patton. But Patton says at the end of Accepting Anxiety Part 2 that, if you want to, and we don't even know your name, so we're kind of curious. And he says, we, which also leads me to believe that, Logan and Roman don't know either, which meant that all three of them knew each other's names by that logic. So I feel like, and since Remus gave his name and Logan called him the Duke, I don't think any of the light sides knew what the dark side's names were. And I still don't. I think Virgil, and it's possible that Remus doesn't even know what Deceit's name is, but I think Virgil knows what Deceit's name is because of the fact in the courtroom when Virgil is talking about him, he says, you literally know him as Deceit. So, yeah, you know him as Deceit because that's the only name we've been given. That doesn't mean that's what his name is. Which also, like, leads into my entire idea of, like, which leads me into the entire idea of Deceit not actually being Deceit, that he's actually self-preservation, but that's for a theory video if I ever make it. So, I want more on Deceit and Remus, and of course I want the quote-unquote orange side. I don't know what the fandom will do if the next side isn't orange colored. But apparently they know about the fact that we want an orange side. That's kind of scary. I think it was in the only thing is that like I wonder if the orange side is actually still going to happen because of the fact that okay, I don't know how many of you saw it because it was an Instagram story and those vanish over time, but there was an Instagram story where Thomas was doing all of the those little things that like flash over your head and you get picked as a character or whatever. Joan was doing them with Thomas one day, and out of Joan's mouth they said that because I think Thomas was holding the one above I think Thomas was holding his phone in such a way that Joan was doing the Sander Sides one that somebody made, and Joan made a joke like, oh, is the orange side in here? Which leads me to believe that they have read some of our theories and know about our color / rainbow theory. So will the last side be orange, or will they do something else because they know we're thinking that it will be orange? I don't know. We were thinking that it was going to be orange and green, and they went ahead with the green one. They went ahead with Remus. So maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. But all I know is that I really cannot wait to see what the next side will be. I do think it will be a dark side. I know some people were saying, well, if it's a dark side, then that's going to make everything uneven because he's going to have too many. Oh, wait a minute. He's going to have too many dark sides and not enough light sides. And I'm like, well, I don't consider Virgil a dark side. Like, yeah, I know he is, but he changed of his own accord because he because of the way he said it when he was revealed, I was one of them. So when he said was, that means he's not anymore, which means he's a light side now, which means Thomas is no longer in balance to the light versus the dark. But I also have a personal opinion that I think Virgil was always a neutral side anyway, because of anxiety, you needed a little bit, not a lot, and you need to have a middle ground, which means some of it's evil and some of it's good, and you never know. I mean, I just gotta see Virgil. I think he's a neutral character. So, and Mandy, you're right. You know, they still did do Virgil a dark side, despite the fact that everybody knew it. But I mean, I think that was kind of obvious, and I think it's more along the lines of like coming out as like gay or whatever, in the sense of like there are people that you might know that are gay or lesbian, ace, pan, trans, whatever, and you know that they are, but they don't come out until a time that is good for them, and it's beneficial to be supportive during that time, not being like, oh, I knew that, you know, duh. It's more like being supportive of that person, being like, you know, well, I accept you and how you are, and and that's how um and that's how I think we should treat Virgil. We should treat Virgil with the same concept of like, you don't sit there and say, oh, we all, you know, we all been new. It's more along the lines of like, excuse me, Virgil came out and, you know, he was a dark side, but we accept him for the fact that he was, because now he's trying to change. He's trying to be better. He's working his anxiety toward the benefit of Thomas rather than against him. And that's why I think Mandy just said something I've been thinking for a while. Mandy says, I also think the light and dark are less good and evil and more about how you feel about yourself. Having more light sides means you're accepting of yourself. And I agree. I think that no matter the person, any one of them could connotatively be evil. And I think we're going to see like this shift in the idea of there being any dark sides, because Virgil was the first one to kind of cross over that breach. He's no longer a dark side now. He was, and he can't run away from the fact that he was one at one point, because he was working against Thomas. He was trying to help him, but also being harmful at the same time. Now he's trying to be helpful without the harming. So I get the feeling that maybe in the future we might see Deceit work with Thomas in a way that gives him more oomph into being a helpful side in the lying aspect of like, yeah, lying to protect yourself, but not the harmful kind of lying for other people around you, and also harmful for yourself. And then I think, you know, we'll eventually have Thomas accept Remus for how he is, and maybe Remus won't be considered dark side anymore. And it's possible that there may always be a dichotomy. There may always be a dark and a light side, because Thomas is a fan of Kingdom Hearts, and that's kind of how Kingdom Hearts works. Kingdom Hearts is, you know, you can't have the light without the dark, you have the dark without the light. So maybe that's also a way that they're going to represent this, in the sense of like, there is no such thing as all good, and there is no such thing as all evil. Maybe eventually everything will be neutral. Who knows? There's so many different ways that this could be balanced out in the end, and it's really hard to know exactly which direction they're going to take it. How they'll reveal the orange side is what I'm really interested in. But I don't know. Is interesting. It's interesting to think about like how many different character tropes that we've had, and how, and I think this what keeps the Sanders side so interesting is the fact that each character is so unique to themselves and their own personality. Like if they were human, you can like, whenever you like, people write fanfics and they write information about the sides, it's so easy to make them their own human and give them their own personality quirks, because they are so different from each other. And we've added on Deceit and Remus, and they're still so different. Like I think the ones that overlap the most would probably be Logan and Deceit. But I feel like the only main difference is Logan uses his intelligence for factual knowledge only, whereas Deceit uses his to get what he wants, and which is the, you know, what liars do. So it's interesting that they're pretty much I love how Thomas can play all 6 of these characters, and yet also basically have 6 individual characters that are so unique at the same time. Like it's such a cool thing. Like I think Thomas posted on Twitter the other day that like he was trying to make a demo reel for his acting work, which is good. He needs to make one. I'd love to see it if he ever publicizes it. But it's a good idea, because I really hope he uses a lot of his Sanders side's work in it. I think it deserves to have I think it deserves to have a big spotlight, especially for some of the harder scenes, like anything emotional in the accepting anxiety arc, anything emotional in the moving on arc, anything from SVS and DeWitt, and maybe even some of the older stuff. Like you could go back as far as, Mind versus the Heart, or My Negative Thinking. Like there's so many good episodes with some really great, amazing character building acting that I think would be great in a demo reel for him. Will he use any of it? I don't know, but I think it would be a shame to let any of that acting go to waste, because it might seem a little cartoonish in a sense, because it's not super adult, I guess, because it is a learning show for people of all ages. But it's so great, and I think it would be awesome to do that. Um, I'm gonna leave the camera on for a second, but I have to run to the restroom, so I'll be right back, guys. Uh, I don't have a hold music thing, so you just get to stare at my bedroom for a few minutes. I apologize. I'll be right back. Oh, and I don't have any kitties for entertainment either. Here. Don't get mad. Please don't get mad. Okay. I'm gonna leave Dot right here. Hopefully she'll lay down, and you guys can watch her. There. You guys can watch her. I'll be right back. Dot, you stayed. Were you entertaining for the people? Did you entertain them? Did you entertain them for me? Good girl. All right. Anyway. Phew. Sorry. That was not going to be able to wait. I apologize. All right. So, let's see. What are we doing? I wanted to see what everybody said. So, let's see. Cues every music. I don't even know if I took 30 seconds. Did I take longer than 30 seconds? Dot Entertainment. Yeah. Secret Life of Pets. Dot Edition. That's nice. Oh, she did. All right, cool. Dot, you're such a good girl. Thank you. You watched the people for me. I appreciate it. Yeah, the kittens are with CJ today, but that's all right. Anyway, so I will leave the last 20 minutes to you guys. So anything you guys want to talk about, I'm free game. Now that I'm not doing the vlogs anymore, I will have a little bit more time to edit throughout the day. So I'm going to work a little bit more on my theories. So I have my twins theory, and I have my deceit theory I want to talk about. And then of course we have the top vids discussion for the Sanders sides. Obviously ranking all of them, which I'll get out eventually, I swear to God. I don't know. But anyway, so is there anything else video-wise that you guys would like to chat about? Why do you always have to lick your butt when I'm streaming? You do that every time. You're such a butt. Go back there. Email us, I think, of monthly lives. Oh, like Thomas does? Like an end of the month live stream? I mean, I guess I could do that. I guess I could do that. I mean, that wouldn't be a terrible deal. Or I could do like the last weekend of every month. You always have to bathe yourself when I'm streaming. Why do you do that? I don't know. Anyway. There's not gonna. I don't think there's gonna be any sides that are gonna have similar colors to the sides that already exist. I could see a black side, but I wouldn't see. Well, Logan is not necessarily a dark blue anymore. He's more of the indigo that's in a rainbow. He because if you look at a rainbow, when you look at a rainbow, it's kind of like there's always like a light blue. The blue can sometimes be a dark blue, or it can be a light blue, and then sometimes it fades into a darker blue, and then it goes into purple. So a lot of people have been seeing Logan as like that indigo color in between blue and purple. And yeah, Jacksepticeye he's live streaming right now. He's doing a charity live stream for the fires in Australia. So check him out. He's got some really cute merch this time. He's got a tee that has a koala on it. If I had any money, I would be buying it, but I don't have any money right now. But yeah, he's doing a live stream for the bushfires, for the fires in Australia. I don't know what his donations are going towards. Like, I don't know what the business is that he's doing. I don't know if it's just the Australian Red Cross or if it's something else. But yeah, check him out. He should be live right now too. But anyway, guys, so I know I asked you guys a couple live streams ago what videos you want to see. But I need you guys to tell me again because I lost the list. That's the kind of life I'm in right now. I'm losing everything. So if there are certain specific videos you want to see from me, or if you have any questions, you got about 15 minutes because my mom is coming over today, so I have to get off my live stream. And she was watching me the last live stream, guys. My mom was watching from my brother's phone last live stream, so she wanted me to shout her out, but I forgot to. I didn't have my notifications on, so my phone doesn't like go off in your all's ears really loud. So I didn't know she was watching until afterwards. But you guys can say hi to her. Maybe she's there now and I just don't know. Who knows? But yeah, y'all can say hi. But anyway, so the videos that I have right now that I definitely, truly, 100% want to make are the Creative Twins theory that's almost done. I just have to edit the video. My deceit theory that's in writing, and then the top video list, the ranking all the Sandersides episodes from 1 to 28. So there's got to be a best one, there's got to be a worst one, and I would rank all of them. So that's a video that I definitely want to make, but that would take a lot of time, a lot of editing, unless you guys don't mind very, very light editing, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so if there's any other videos you want to see, if there's any other questions you guys have, feel free to blow up the chat, because this is the last weekly live stream. I will decide something in February, but I won't do anything in February. I want a month off so I can have time to focus on my channel and make videos. So this will be the last live stream you guys can ask about any videos you guys want. And yeah, Mandy, the top video will be 2. It'll be 28 through 11 and then top 10. That's how the top video will last. It'll be like 11 through 28, and then the top 10 will be the other video. Yay! I've kissed girls too. Anyway, that's a good song. But yeah, so any questions, comments, concerns? I'll probably go get the kittens so you guys can see them one last time on live stream. They went to the vet yesterday, and the vet gave them a 100% bill of health. So I raised my kittens good. They are 100% healthy. They have no problems, no issues, everything. So it was cool. It was cool. And they behaved very well. They didn't hiss or scratch or anything. The vet guy, he was really sweet, really nice man. Um, and they didn't do anything. They didn't meow. They didn't do anything. They were completely silent. It was so weird. They were very, very well behaved, surprisingly enough. And it may have been because they were scared, but like they never, they didn't react. But Mandy, I also think that they were calm in their carrier because they had each other. They grew up together, they're brother and sister. So I think them being in the same carrier together is not really a big deal because they are more comfortable together. Because if you want to see them loud, my mom took them to get them fixed because it happened during the week and I wasn't able to take them there. And she said that both of them were very loud because they had to go individually. She said they both complained, they were loud in the crate and all that stuff. So I think that's mostly because they weren't together. But when they're together, they're fine, which gives me great premise for the future because of the fact that I'll be doing a pretty big move and there will be a long road trip to get there. So if they're going to be that well behaved, for the hour it takes us to get to their vet, then maybe they'll be pretty good for longer drives. So that'll always be a good thing. But I will consider the end of the month live streams. I'll think about it. Gives me more to talk about because like more happens in a month than happens in a week, obviously. So maybe that will make my live streams a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting. And then maybe I can get more watchers because I'll actually post content in between instead of feeling like I'm pressured to make content before the end of the week and then I don't and I feel bad and then I do the live stream with nothing to talk about. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do the end of the month live streams. I don't know. But I'm definitely not doing anything in February, so please don't expect anything in February. February is the month that I have to plan a lot of stuff in the future. I have to plan a lot of stuff money-wise because we're going to get taxes back. I got to plan out like my bills and junk. I got to do adult stuff in February. I apologize, but yeah, so got a lot of things to do. MS, if I've seen her Remus Spider-Man. No, I don't think so. Is it on Twitter? I don't think I've seen it. And Lynn asked, I know the sides have been given animal will represent them to see the snake, Remus, and octopus, but what have you headcanoned all the sides animals to be? Well, I do agree with the deceit snake and the Remus, an octopus. I also like Remus with a rat. I always thought that'd be pretty cute. I think he would like have like all kinds of rats that he would like just control, kind of like he's like Cinderella. He just has all these rats that he can talk to. I always thought that would be really cute. And then Virgil, I know a lot of people go with the spider thing because that's what it is in canon. Like he has a little spider. I always liked him with a cat. I've always liked him with a black cat. It's one of the big reasons why Virgil's name is Virgil is because I've always thought that Virgil would be good with the black cat. It would be a good way to calm him down, get his anxiety out. And then I've also seen him with a possum, and I also think that really works too. Possums are not as liked, and a lot of people think they're ugly, but I think Virgil could see a lot of love and cat-like stuff in a possum. But it would be a little bit different enough to be kind of unique that he would have a possum as a pet. Because and then I've also seen like raccoons because raccoons have the same under eye stuff, like the black around their eyes, like Virgil does for his anxiety, the black eyeshadow, and raccoons have that too. So I've seen him with raccoons, so that's pretty cool. Patton obviously is a dog. I don't really think any other animal suits Patton's personality very well other than a dog. Maybe a cat with him too, but it would have to be like a real big white fluffy one, something real fluffy and stuff. Roman obviously doesn't really have an animal connotation. Neither does Logan really. But I've always seen Roman with like a lion, or a tiger, something regal, or like maybe even like an eagle, or I never really gave it any thought, to be honest. I think Roman would be really cool to have a lion. I think lions would be really cool. Cause you could see Roman as like a tamer. But I think that would be neat. And I really like the idea. Mandy just said it, but for Patton, I would really like a golden retriever dog. I just think that's the kind of personality that Patton has. I think he would be a really big family dog, if he was a dog. And then Logan, I've always seen as a bird, and it's always been like a crow or something really smart. I've always liked the idea of him having a crow that is very intelligent, that can do things for him and come back to him, and he can communicate it to it, like it understands what he says and all that junk. I just think that would be so cool to have Logan as a bird. And anytime I think, and then of course, if we go fantasy style on the animals, then obviously Roman would have a dragon. In mine and Maxie's story, that's what happened in the Anticides fig before the Anticides really came around. We gave them pets. We gave all the sides pets, and because of the fact that Roman had a dragon that that Maxie made up, called Marmalade, and Marmalade was a little baby dragon. She's really cute. She's a little red baby dragon, and that was Roman's quote unquote pet. So Patton had the little puppy from Moving on Part 2, the little black one that he named Logan Jr. And then we gave Virgil a black cat named Amy Lee after the lead singer of Evanescence. And then we gave Logan a bird named Aves, which means bird, but I think that's how literal Logan is. I think he would just pick a cool word that means bird, because it's Logan. He doesn't care about creativeness. He's just like, this is a bird, and I think it's neat to call him Aves, because Aves is like not an English word. So, but yeah, that's the only time I've ever headcanoned what kind of animal the sides would have. But that's my answer. That's my answer. Oh, hey, Anna Marie, what's happening? Anybody else got any questions? You guys got like 6 minutes before I'm like out. And this is the last time. No more live streams until maybe the end of March. Morgo, you gotta reference the instructions, because every chair is different. Trust me, I've built so much patio furniture and living room furniture at my job that no chair is put together the exact same way. You have to read the instructions. It's the only way to put them together. And sometimes the instructions can be wrong, but it's almost like putting together a puzzle. You figure it out. You can do it. I don't really have a favorite Broadway actor, because I haven't really seen that many shows on Broadway. I've only ever seen literally one play that came from Broadway, and that was Hamilton, but it wasn't the original Broadway cast. So it was the Angelica cast, and they did a fantastic job. I would love to see it done by them again, because they did a really good job. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite Broadway actor, because I don't really know any, to be honest. Someone else asked, let's see, what do I think Logan's room looks like? I think it's gonna look like a school. I think it's gonna look like a classroom, because that's what Logan wants Thomas to do. He wants him to go back to school. So I think it would literally be like if Deceit can take, because like, think about it, when Logan took them to his whenever they did the debate, him and Virgil with Thomas, they were on a stage that looked like it was like in an auditorium of a school. And then whenever they got out of it, Logan was like, that was my dream space. How dare you? So obviously that's his dream space. Then like maybe his room looks like a classroom. It's got like a desk and a whiteboard, or maybe he's an old school and it's got like a regular black chalkboard in there, and it's got all kinds of information on it. And he's got a wall of books that are like Thomas's memories, and every book is like 1 year of Thomas's life, and he like wrote down everything, and maybe the pages are faded and some of the older ones. That's why you forget things, because the books fade over time. Maybe they're written in pencil, and now things are more written in pen, so that's why Thomas remembers more things. I don't know. I just think Logan's room is going to be such a cool space of information. I don't know what it'll be, but I think it'd be really cool. But I think that would be pretty neat. Yeah, Cheetah said to have high anxiety, and what's really cool is if you do associate that with Virgil, then it's cool because he gets Patton as a buddy, because golden retriever dogs are used as mental health animals for cheetahs. They'll take a cheetah and a golden retriever puppy that are about the same age, and that dog will be their social dog, and that's how they lower a cheetah's anxiety that are kept in captivity. I always thought that was actually pretty cool. That cheetahs can be raised alongside them. Let's see. Do you have any predictions for Deceit's name? Someone asked this earlier. Not really. I know that there's the ethos thing, so a lot of people are going with Ethan. I like Damien. I like Declan. I like. There's another one that someone else came up with that I thought was really cool that I don't remember what it was. It had something to do with lies, but it was like translated into another language or something. I don't remember what it was. But I thought that would be really cool. Do I think Roman and Remus are going to share a room or have separate rooms? I think they have. I think they're brothers and they're going to be in the same room because I don't think it makes sense for them to have two different rooms because Thomas's creativity wouldn't be in two different places. I think that it would be the same space and it's annoying. Maybe they have bunk beds. I don't know. I just think it would be cool. But yeah, no, I think they would have the same room, and maybe Roman has a way to keep Remus out of his area, like maybe it's divided or something, like, or maybe they're forced to share. Like maybe they've had to share this entire time, and that's why we haven't been allowed in Roman's room because Roman's like, no, my brother's in there, and you don't know him yet, so no. But I think that would be pretty cool. And Dante's a good name for Deceit too. I do agree. And no, and I think that's why they haven't shown Roman's room yet was because I think it was said in one of the live streams, but Thomas and Joan both said something about the fact that they couldn't go to Roman's room yet because they needed to reveal a specific dark side. Obviously, it has to do with Remus. So maybe that's why they couldn't. Wow, there are so much. There's fur in the air because I live with cats. But yeah, so that's what I think. I think that that they will share a room, and I think whenever we go into Roman's room, we will get Remus as well. Deceit's room? Oh boy. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because he kind of represents an idea rather than something concrete. Like logic is concrete. Logic can be surrounded by books and school and learning and all that stuff. I don't really know how you describe lying as a thing. That's why I think he's been manipulated into being lying. I don't think that he's actually fully a lying side. I don't know what Deceit's room will look like. It might be similar to the courtroom because of the idea of debates and how Deceit tries to twist everything to being what he wants. Maybe it will be a courtroom of some kind. But I could see it being a lot of different things, and I think we have talked about this before, but I don't remember. But I think anything is cool. I don't know. We'll have to find out together because I don't really have too many ideas on what Deceit's room would look like. And email like me too. Like I think Deceit is just as protective as Virgil. He just has a different way of going about it. And he's a little bit more ruthless because I think he's even more willing to defend Thomas even from Thomas's friends. And I think that's something that the others really aren't willing to do. I don't think they're willing to overstep the bounds of like what's friendship and what's not. I think Deceit might be the only one willing to step over that line and say, no, you're going to choose yourself for once and not your friends. Because you need to pick yourself sometimes. I think he might be the only side willing to do that. And yeah, from himself too, of course. But I literally think Deceit might be the only side that would be willing to fight against Thomas's friends for the betterment of Thomas himself. I don't think any of the other sides would. I think they would choose to work with I think they would always choose Thomas as friends. I don't think they would recognize that Thomas needs to choose himself sometimes. At least in my humble opinion. But anyway, so it is now reaching that time of the day where we must say goodbye. I guess I will bring in the kittens one last time so you guys can see them. So let me see if I can find them. I don't know where they are. Oh, let me see. Push the door open. I have an armful of kitty. Oh god. I can't do it. Okay. Here we go. Mwah, mwah. Callie, Virgil. They are no longer small babies. Oh, I'm sorry, Virgil. Did that hurt? I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yep, these are my babies. So I figured I'd let them say bye to you guys one last time. So here is Callie in all her cute glory. And they were on CJ's bed. So they were asleep. They were asleep. Oh, and Em, I'm sorry. I said she earlier for you. I'm sorry. My fault. Virgil, you never talk this much. What's your problem? You never talk this much. Here, I'm gonna put Callie on the bed. You never talk this much. What's your problem, little boy? You gonna talk for the camera? The last time ever you're gonna talk? You didn't even talk on the trip to the vet. Okay, bye bye everybody. My name's Virgil. I'm also known as Long Boy. What do you want to do? You see, he's long. He do the long stretch. But that's it, guys. I will see you guys at the end of March. So basically 2 months. I hope that you guys have a great March or a great February and a great March. And if you guys have a birthday in those 2 months, happy birthday. My brother's 21st birthday is in March, so that'll be exciting to talk about after it happens. Might have some more changes in my life come that time, so I'll still be on social media, so you guys can hit me up on my Twitter, which is at RileyLoganYT. You can still hit me up on my Tumblr, which is vigilantvirgil.tumblr.com. I'm on Instagram as I am Riley Logan. Hit me up on any of those places. I'll still be around. I'll still be posting things on the daily. So I hope all of y'all have a fantastic 2 months, and I will see you guys at the end of March. And I am going to work so hard on these stupid videos of mine. I will get them done. And yes, happy Valentine's Day for everybody, whether you're single or you're a couple or you have a crush on somebody or whatever it is. Valentine's Day is a day of love, familial love, as well as romantic and platonic. So celebrate with everybody that you love, everybody in your life that means anything to you. I love all of you guys. I'll be thinking of all of y'all on Valentine's Day. And I will see you guys in the future. So one last time until March, I guess. Take it easy, guys, gals, non-binary pals, everything in between or nothing at all. And I'll see you in my next video on my channel, whatever that might be. Bye. 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 Bye.